Eleni. Can you hear me?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, yes. Please, you have all our attention. We have a little change in the program. Camille would be after you.
That's okay. As long as we're all sick, I'm fine with that. I was already prepared. I hope that you don't hear any background noise because the building next to me is making noise. Started with something with concrete. You
We
don't listen.
are hearing you. We are hearing you good. Yeah.
Perfect, because it was unexpected. I couldn't do nothing. Perfect. So I will share my screen and just tell me if you uh, can see. So I will just start with a few words on what I'm doing. I'm Eleni Kolliga. First of all, I would like to thank you for inviting me. I really loved all this effort. From yesterday, I'm participating as an attendee. I watched a lot of presentations. I really loved the vibes. I'm a founder. I'm a freelancer. The last a year and a half, I have my own agency, Growth Tale. I also love teaching. That's why I'm a lecturer at the Mediterranean College in Thessaloniki. I do some. I'm teaching in bachelor's and masters and executives regarding marketing courses, and I also have online courses dedicated for the Greek markets, powered by Skillbox. And I also love podcasting and hosting some episodes with guest speakers and talking about digital marketing. I also love startups. I have been a consultant in the past in a few, and I'm working on something right now. That's, I think, only to be in the startup ecosystem. What I do hands-on every day is offering digital services in 3 countries. I have clients in more than 3 countries in Europe, and also offering consultation and training in small medium businesses. Of course, you can learn more about that if you visit my website. I don't want to talk more about me, and I will dive in today's session. Which you all know, it's about we're going to discuss about consumer behavior after this crisis will be over. We all know that this will be over. We don't know when. So that's why everybody is asking questions. What am I going to do after? How is this affect my businesses? So why should we bother? And it's very critical to understand why. We know that marketing is about identifying and satisfying consumer needs, but in a profitable way. So we need to identify the new needs. But first of all, I would like to clarify a concept about designing emotions in marketing, which is actually we base our strategies in marketing. Even if we don't do this on purpose, we actually affect and influence consumers' emotions. And right now, emotions are really fragile and have changed. Consumers are usually basing their buying decisions on both promotion emotions and prevention emotions. Promotion emotions is more about happiness, fun, enjoyment, um, but prevention emotions is more like security, safety to reduce the risk before purchase, for example. So it was used to be in the past, before this crisis, their buying decisions were mostly influenced by promotion emotions. What we expect, right, what we're living right now is an increase in prevention emotions, and I will strongly believe that this will stay in the short-term future for the next 2 or maybe 3 years. It depends, of course, what and how this all will end. What COVID has done actually quite impressively is that they changed consumer preferences. We act, as marketeers and brands, we're striving to do this. I know we all have tried to influence and change consumer preferences, but we have not done this in such a huge scale as COVID have done it. And let's see how this change and will change the next normal. What I found in different researches, because I'm reading, my clients were asking, colleagues were asking, and we were discussing how the next day will be and what is the new mutated, let's say, consumer. The first thing that actually is going to stay for a long time is the increased price sensitivity. People and consumers are going to lower their spending on purchasing and more about saving. They're going to be afraid for their future for a long time and of course, this is based on the insecurity feelings. They don't know, and they're two-thirds of consumers have found to be pessimistic or insecure about a pandemic's lasting effect in the future. So I think businesses should adapt and consider that this is crucial right now, even with the value-based companies and the luxury brands. Even those consumers are going to be a little bit affected too. Of course, there's going to be an increase in the digital engagement. We have already seen greater media consumption, even especially with TikTok, as you discussed in the previous section. I know it's a huge trend and it's going to affect a lot of consumers' habits. So it's very important for businesses and brands to be there and be present, not just create a new channel, not just, for example, create a TikTok account or build their website if they haven't done already. They have to be there because consumers are going to continue engage online with brands and after this crisis will end. There's already an increasing attention to wellness and hygiene, but this will stay for a long, long time. Uh, Businesses should emphasize a lot on health and cleanliness in marketing messages. They do this already, a lot of businesses, but they don't. I think they don't have understand that this will stay on the long term, on the long run. People will expect from companies to have a new health strategy, even in physical stores, even with online procedures, and they will um, search and favor the brands that will promote that more effectively. Hygiene will become a core element of wellness overall. Nesting at home is the new trend and it will stay, not only because of the economic uncertainty and for their desire to save money, but because they may want to feel safe for a long time. They will prefer, for example, virtual happy hours with their friends, sharing, for example, the same screen and drinking something online rather than going to a bar. Or even getting takeout than will be more preferred than dinner with a diner at a restaurant, for example. This will be the new pleasure by staying home for a long time, and unless, of course, everything will be over and we will find something permanently. But this will be the new norm, and we should respect that as brands. I have discussed about how the preferences have changed. We cannot change them right now, but we need to respect that people may want to be at home. So we will need to adapt our strategies as brand to reach them while they're at home. There will be a continued increase in online ordering. I have read this actually everywhere. People are going to prefer this safe experience. That's why a lot of brands have changed their promo, like from stay home to stay safe. It's going to be something that will continue to increase. Not, of course, to all industries. It's going to increase a lot of food and grocery ordering online. We're going to see some industries decline after all, but a lot of people are going to stay. For example, older generations that were not used to online channels and they were not used to using them for ordering something. It is expected that 10% of them actually are going to stay and continue shopping online, or those who were afraid, for example, to try something, a service online or a new product. Those barriers are going to go away, and there is going to be a new generation online. And new people are going to buy, but they weren't used to do that before. And of course, high hygiene and distancing expectations will be expected from consumers. I have seen this on my Instagram stories while I was scrolling. I saw this Bloomberg advertising about how Airbnb is investing, for example, in the post-pandemic, and this picture actually captured my attention. I saw these bananas that were protected, and this was the welcome kits, for example. And I was questioning myself, oh my God, this is going to be the new reality when I visit a new destination. And actually, it is going to be. It is going to be high welcomes from consumers and travelers, for example. And if they're going to see and receive these welcome kits with face masks, gloves, for example, and I think that we increase the safety and security emotions. But there also, if they don't find those, this will affect and increase their negative emotions, and of course, the brand's image is going to have a negative impact. And this is not only for travel companies. I think this is a must and an important thing to pay attention, even in physical stores. Even, for example, if you visit a shoe store or you go to your hair salon, people and consumers will expect to receive those kind of security, let's say, gifts. Actually, it's very interesting that people expect for brands to redefine their purpose and more with an emphasis on social responsibility. And this is an area I'm currently studying and work on. Uh, that brands, and I found that the struggle that brands have right now and all the recent years is that they don't know how to link the business goals with the social responsibility goals in a profitable way. And actually, it's quite impressive that more than 75% of consumers in a survey said that corporations should operate in a way that aligns with society's interests, even if that means sacrificing stakeholder value. They actually expect to continue with the social responsibility messaging. We have seen these days from a lot of brands donating, helping minorities in society with a lot of, with many ways. Um, and this is expected to continue. The paradox is, though, that while there is an increase in sustainability and any anything that benefits society, and that the consumers actually want to do that, people, those that are price sensitive and concerned about hygiene, which is an increased audience, as you can understand, they still prefer single-use packaging. So this is actually paradox. How brands are going to uh, um, meet this need and satisfy this thing? It's a gold line to find the best communication strategy and adapt the business model so as to have a good and a strong social responsibility strategy, but also try to satisfy the need about hygiene and the expectations about that. Another thing that is going to come and stay overall is the urbanization. The love for local is growing every day. Small communities promoting even hashtags stay local, buy local, and it's something people base this on their fear about living in a city right now. A lot of people considering going to the suburbs because cities are right now more about like the epidemic centers, they're afraid. So local is going to be the new trend. And I think this is something that will benefit local businesses if, of course, they will adapt and exploit the other trends as we saw, like the digital, the new channels, the new communication channels, and the hygiene expectations. We all work from home, even this event is virtual, and I think it's here to stay. A lot of actually professionals think it's going to stay, and companies were actually relieved, but at first were struggling how to implement that. Cloud-based technologies will be in high demand. I'm seeing this already, and remote hiring is going to be very a niche market. I think that there are a lot of ideas and new startup and innovation tools are going to be adapted here so as to alleviate these problems for businesses. Of course, new IT infrastructures are going to be in demand, and even security problems are going to pop up to businesses owners' minds. But I'm sure that we have the tools and great minds behind all of that, so that they can satisfy those needs too. Another trend that is going to stay is the increase in blended learning environments. We have seen a lot of classrooms going virtually, but this is something that is going to stay, and after this crisis will end. There are going to be developed even new, entirely new experiences. People expect, and I have read that even Zoom will decrease, of course, after that in active users, but we will see an increase in new innovative ideas and new experiences custom to remote education. And I know a few people working on something like that, and I think it's going to be very exciting and will be beneficial for the educational system. Of course, physical will continue, and of course, it's important for a learning procedure, but it's a new generation actually evolving through all this crisis. And digital health technologies, I think it's going to boom. We know already a lot of doctors have collaborated with IT companies to create their mobile applications, so as they have a communication, digital communication with their patient to share, for example, results from maybe a test they have done. So I think this is going to increase. People will prefer to discuss virtually with the doctor, of course, in case it's not important to go in person, or receive their test results online with virtual channels. We're going to see a lot of technologies. Of course, it is a daunting task for businesses to do that, and of course for the health departments, but I'm sure that we will find new innovative ways. And we all know history has proven that in tough times, in uncertain situations, there are, of course, new needs, but those new needs are a great and way to develop new ideas. I'm sure that new and stronger startups are going to evolve through that, or the existing businesses are going to need to adapt their business models to meet those new needs, the new normal. I have read a lot about new startups during this crisis. A lot of online hackathons actually taking place in Europe. I have read that about 200 startups participated in European hackathons. Even in Greek startup, the Travelers app that is promoting a safe summer in Greece, that is an app application that travelers could confirm their health state about coronavirus. Or I have read about VoiceMed that is actually won both Italian and I think Swedish hackathons, how to win this crisis, where consumers and patients could actually use this application with their laptop or their mobile phone, and simply by coughing, this could give them a result about their health situation, whether they were immuted or not. And Shoe, for example, which was an e-bot that was quickly created in Estonian, and it was answering questions of the citizens, and it was adapted and integrated to a lot of websites to help and ease the online experience of the citizens to answer their questions in a quick and interactive way. I think the next thing that brands should do is to plan ahead for the next phase. I know that most of the businesses right now have a dedicated team to monitor the situation right now and to respond, and in a quite effective way. But what they don't actually do right now, and they should start immediately, is to plan for the next phase and do some scenario planning. It's very important to know what to do next in everything, in strategically, communicationally, and with all your core businesses. First thing to do is, of course, accelerating over digital marketing. I know this is something a lot of people know that, but they don't do actually. Many businesses calling me and friends telling me, okay, I'm thinking of doing a website. How quickly? What should I know? There is actually, it was a great shift to go digital, but I think most businesses were not prepared for that. Of course, another thing they should consider is to revise assortment and pricing. We discussed about the price sensitivity. So even businesses that were not considering about changing the pricing model are now thinking of that, and I think this will something that will be critical for their success. Revisit channel strategy and customer segmentation is again very important. We see, I know that what I do actually every day is to examine the customer segmentations and of course choose the most profitable or the best fit for each brand. But now that even the customer market is changing and their preferences and their emotions and everything, we should adjust and revisit and maybe identify new customer audiences and target markets. And of course, as I said before, develop a health strategy. It's very important to do this for the long term, not just now. It's going to stay with us. We have changed, and a lot of people say that we have changed permanently. I hope for in a good way. So developing a health strategy, of course, in line with business model, will be critical for business online survival. And reshaping a marketing plan around new demand and brand purpose is very important. And try to inline this and combine it with the social responsibility. Even Generation Z, I know that it is a generation that seeks brands that are ethical and that they perform in a sustainable way. But now this demand is increasing in other generations too. So we need to understand all those to adapt our strategies or our business models. And that was all. I actually talked a lot. It was a struggle for me to sum up my findings in a few slides. So just to be on schedule and not take much of your time. I hope to stay connected. If you have any questions, if you want to discuss any ideas, if you have any problems thinking about what to do next, I'm more than happy to help you with that. Thank you so much for your time. If you have any question, Arthur, if you want to clarify something, I'm at your disposal.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Eleni.